All right, dudes, as prefaced on episode 46 of the Spicer Speaking podcast, it is a fine twin billing of guests. Enjoyed that chat with Todd Leonard. And now we go, I guess, from in sport speak, we go from one track to another. Enjoyed talking some golf. And now we're going to talk some bobsledding as we cumulatively get ready for the Winter Olympics getting underway shortly in Beijing. To help us do so is a Newport Beach native, alma mater of both Mater Dei and UCLA, getting ready to make his second appearance for Team USA, competing in the bobsled. It's Carlo Valdes. Carlo, how's it going, man?
It's going well. It's going well again. Thanks for having me. And yeah, just enjoying some time here in California before taking off for Beijing on Thursday.
Currently in Chula Vista training. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we got in, I believe, last Tuesday. We had spent the past 2 months in Europe, Switzerland, Germany, Austria, and Latvia during our World Cup tour. And that's pretty much what we do every year. And at the end of the year, we get a seeding, and that's going to be our seeding going into the Olympics come February. So yeah, just here for another couple more days, and yeah, then we take off.
I got to mention, probably for those watching the YouTube version, the facial hair game for Carlo is strong.
Yeah, it's I mean, I do a handlebar mustache, multiple times a year, but in this case, I had to outdo everyone I've ever did. So why not make it extra thick, hanging off the chin a little bit?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous, but that's you got to give the people what they want.
I mean,
It's the right occasion.
Even looking at your Team USA bio photo, that is intimidating in itself. But now with what this going on here with the salad and the handlebar, I mean, if I were a Latvian competitor, I would be intimidated come bobsled time.
Yeah, it's definitely a intimidating look, but at the same time, like I've known these guys for a while from different nations, so they already know what it's coming. So everyone enjoys it. They like making jokes and like having a laugh. But at the end of the day, everyone respects it because no one else can do it. So that's what it comes down to.
I've talked a little bit about what is to come next month. Let's talk a bit more, Carlo, about how you got here and are about to get there. I mean, your personal journey and odyssey is a unique one, to be sure. I can't imagine there's a lot of precedent set for Southern California football players of Mexican heritage that ultimately compete in multiple Olympic bobsled competitions. Take us through how you got from football to where you are now.
Yeah, it's been a long road. I played football my whole life. Started when I was 7 years old, track as well, and just played up until my first year at UCLA, where I was on the team. I was a redshirt, and I was trying to do both football and track at the same time. But ultimately, it's just it's hard to juggle two sports in college. So I made a decision of what my best path was, and for me, it was track at that time. So stuck with track. Had sprinted my whole life, and I was doing decathlon my first year at UCLA. Then switched to javelin, and that's when I gained like 30 pounds. Kind of saw a transformation with my body, and was fast, and then I was strong. And that's when bobsled came up, where my coach at the time, Mike Maynard, he was the one that told my teammate and I that we should try out. And my other teammate, he was 2 years ahead of me, so he went out, he made the team, and he's just like, okay, well, if he can make it, then you can make it. So I tried out, and one thing led to another. Just it's something that didn't click for me right away, but I really enjoyed it and loved it because it had the toughness that I got with football and grittiness transferred over to that, and the training that I was doing with javelin and sprinting helped out as well. So it was almost like a perfect fit, because you need to be strong and fast, and you need to be able to learn the technique as well, because it is somewhat technical. You can't just go out there and expect to push fast. There is a development that goes along with it, but yeah, it's crazy because you grow up thinking you're going to do one thing, and the next thing you know, bobsled comes in the picture, and it's something you'd never heard of before. And next thing you know, you're going into your second Olympic Games, and it's just like, man, that's a crazy road that I've been on. So I'm thankful for every opportunity and every moment I've had, and this is gonna be my last Olympics, my last month in the sport. So everything's coming full circle, and trying to make the most of it and get some hardware next month. So
I guess
I'm excited.
Last things first. Why is this your last? Why are you saying that now?
I've made it pretty clear, just because I don't one, my body is given everything it has. It's not easy on the body. There's year-long training that goes into it. Staying healthy for that, it's just a challenge in itself. And then once you're in season, it's just nonstop traveling, nonstop racing. And for me to keep, a high performance level up for another 4 years, in my opinion, is just, I feel like I'd be doing it a disservice if I kept going. Would it be great for the younger guys and give them the experience? Sure. Yeah, it'd be great. And I want to stay in the sport in some capacity to help out those guys. But at the same time, I know for me, I'm ready to close the book on, my athletic career. And it's something that I'm happy with. And I'm fully, I'm content with knowing this is my last month and last competition.
Carlo, take us back to your Olympic debut in 2018 in Pyeongchang. What did you learn from that experience that you can take into Beijing next month?
Yeah, it's a great question. So that first Olympic Games, awesome experience. Such a cool experience, lifelong childhood dream finally came true. Reached that level and really took in everything. I really enjoyed my time that month in Korea and Pyeongchang. And one thing that just left a bad taste in my mouth was how we did. We didn't perform the way we wanted to. We had a lot of things happen too that were against us. With Holcomb's passing, Justin, my pilot, had an appendectomy like a week and a half prior to the race, and we were favored to have the top starts at those games, and having a top start puts you in the mix no matter what. So we obviously don't know what would happen, but when you don't have the start, it kind of takes you out of it, and you got to play catch up. So 4 years up until that point, just having the rug, ripped from underneath you was pretty gutting to me.
Yeah.
So I just had to take time away from the sport and just think about what I really wanted to do and get in a better spot mentally and physically, because I was pretty banged up. And after a while, I knew I was ready to come back, and it's business this time. I've experienced the games. I know what it entails, and I want to make sure that I do everything I can to make sure that we do everything possible to help us get on the podium. So that's what it all comes down to. Is that's the final goal for me, is winning an Olympic medal. After that, I have completed everything almost. So that's what it comes down to for me.
A few follow-ups there. You mentioned the really tragic passing of Steve Holcomb. Of course, he was the last man to lead the U.S. to not just a medal, but also a gold medal. The four-man USA bobsled won gold in 2010. That, however, as you probably and unfortunately know, sorry if I'm getting to a sensitive spot here, Carlo, that is the only gold in this specific event for Team USA since 1948. Why is that?
Yeah.
Man?
Yeah, I mean, Holcomb was a very special driver. He had the feel for it, and he had a lot of experience up to that point as well. So yeah, he had the gold in 2010 in Vancouver, and then he got double silver in 4-man and 2-man in Sochi. And yeah, we had a lot of momentum going into last Olympic Games. But at the same time, the guys who are coming up now, our pilots, I'll be signing with Frank Del Duca, and you got Hunter Church as well. Both young guys. Hunter's young in himself. Frank is a young pilot, only a few years under his belt, and Hunter's done very well this year. He's won a World Cup medal, actually a couple in his last 2 World Cup seasons. And Frank, it's all experience with pilots. The more experience you have, the more likely you're going to do well in the future. And again, for us, we've been spending a lot of time this summer in our new ice house, and having that kind of training tool is so huge for us because it gives us the feel of being on ice year round, and it gives us the feel of just every step of the push and the loading sequence. Everything about that is so important because the sport comes down to hundredths of a second. So if we have top pushes there again in Beijing, we'll put ourselves in the mix again. So that's what I can control. That's what we pride ourselves on. And yeah, those guys learned a lot from Holcomb too. So hopefully they can channel, everything, he taught them, and, just his presence of being there. For me, it's huge. So I can't see why it wouldn't be huge for those guys as well.
Friends, are tuning into episode 46 of the Spicer Speaking podcast. Newport Beach native Carlo Valdes, soon to make his second Olympic appearance for Team USA in the 4-man bobsled. He is my guest. When it comes to sports like bobsled, you always get, I think, some interloping media like me, Carlo, that we don't know anything, but once every 4 years, we start trying to educate ourselves a little bit and ask some questions.
Yeah.
I sometimes see bobsled, sometimes see bobsleigh. Which one's right?
From a worldwide standpoint, bobsleigh.
Okay.
Bobsled is just, I guess, the American version of how we say it. But yeah, people say bobsleigh. And yeah, I don't know if do you know how the sport became bobsled?
I do not know. Educate us, please.
Yeah. So, this is like back in the 1920s. They named it after a bunch of men sitting in a sled and trying to get downhill. And the only way they can get started is by bobbing forward and backwards. So, as you can imagine, they named it bobsleigh. And, the sport's obviously, evolved since then. It became a hobby of a bunch of drunk guys just trying to go down a hill and have some fun, to okay, how fast can we get this thing moving, and what kind of technology can we put into this to get down the hill the fastest, with the fastest guys in the sled and the biggest guys. So it's definitely taken a lot of turns for the better, and it's a lot of fun to watch. I think these past Olympic or few Winter Olympics, it's like the top 2 most viewed events besides hockey. A 4-man bobsled.
I'm glad I didn't wager a guess. I was going to say something stupid like there was a guy named Bob involved as far as the naming of that. Carlo, when I look at your bio, doesn't all your accomplishments and all your world championships and your previous Olympics are all listed in there, but the first things on your bio are golf and fantasy football. I found that kind of interesting. Either one of those a particular passion more so than the other?
Well, golf, that's just something that everyone loves to do nowadays. Whether it's to have a competition with your friends, bet some money, or just get away from things. But yeah, I haven't played fantasy football this year just because of the way the season goes. So if I get myself in a league where money's on the line and I'm traveling, that's just why am I doing it? So I always take this year off. I took last Olympic year off. But yeah, fantasy football, again, another fun thing to do with your friends. Money's on the line. Friendly competition. and you have a lot invested in it too. So it's just like you become serious about it. But yeah, I mean, those are two great things to do, for someone, who's, in their 20s and 30s and 40s, like it's just a normal thing. So,
What, if any, are some of the attributes from your bobsled training that may translate well to the golf course?
power.
Power.
Yeah. Definitely driving the ball. Most of us who play often are, ripping it, 330 plus off the tee.
Whoa.
And we play a lot of golf too, like in the summertime, because in Lake Placid in upstate New York, that's where we train in the summertime. There's 3 golf courses around us, and one of them happens to let us play there for free, minus a cart fee. So yeah, we take advantage of that, and we play like twice a week. And the greens up there, courses up there are great. Everything's well kept, and you got to take advantage and get away from things too, because we're training so often. Like you got to take your mind off things and have some fun as well. So yeah, it's a good thing that we have that. Otherwise, I probably would lose my mind if there's nothing else to do in Lake Placid, because there's not much around there to do.
Right.
But it's such a beautiful area. High tourist attraction volume there, and of course, being here in California, there's a lot of golf as well. So
I want to bring it back to the sled or sleigh. Take us inside. Take us inside the sleigh a little bit. Your pushing portion has concluded. You all jump in not necessarily in concert, but I guess you have a very choreographed way of when you jump in. What do you do then? What's your job there?
At that point, yeah, we time the load getting off the ice. It's choreographed, it's synchronized. We practice that a lot. And then once we're in, we got to be in an aerodynamic profile down the track, just meaning that we got to create the least amount of drag as possible. So obviously a lot of sled technology goes into that, but at the same time, the bodies that fit in the sled have to fit a certain way to optimize that. So obviously the pilot's in front, he's the one that can see everything. And then, for the 2, 3, and 4 guy, the 2 guys is slightly lower than him, 3 guys slightly lower than the 2 guy, and then the 4 guys buried in the sled. You can't even see him. You shouldn't see him. And that's the only way you can really fit into a sled. If you're not fitting that way, then you're probably going to lose time down the track. And again, going back to how the sport is decided by, hundredths of a second, everything counts. So we put a lot of, time and research into figuring out what is the best way to fit in a sled. So we go to the wind tunnel, and we spend a couple days. We go to Mooresville because that's where our sled manufacturer is, Mooresville, North Carolina, and we spend time in the wind tunnel all day. And that's how we figure out, okay, what's best, what doesn't work, what can work, what are some maybe things we can do better. So it's always evolving, it's always changing, because we're trying to figure out how we can get faster, because other countries are doing it as well. So yeah, that's what's going on. But we can't see what's going on. We can feel what's going on, and we have to know what's going on. Otherwise, if you're just sitting back there loosey goosey and get slammed into a turn, then you're creating top heavy force for the pilot, and he has to adjust for that into the turn. And more driving equals more friction means time taken away.
You mentioned the 2, 3, or 4 when we were watching the Winter Olympics, specifically the 4-man bobsled, which I believe is taking place February 19th and 20th.
Correct, yeah.
Which guy are you?
I'll be sitting 2.
You'll be sitting 2.
Right behind the pilot, yeah. So I typically interchange. I can go 2 or 3. But the best combo that we have going into this game is I'll be sitting 2 spot.
Got one more for you, Carlo, before we obviously wish you well and hope to see you on the medal stand next month. Kind of dangled this at the outset of the show. Blake Arthur, our man out here
Yeah.
in the desert, KESQ, school chum of yours at Mater Dei. You guys played some sports together, I understand. Graduated from high school in the same class. Blake's been on the program many times. As I told you when the microphone was off, we are wont to get on the golf course together on occasion as well. Got to give us a little dirt here, man. Don't just say nice things. That's all we
All
hear.
right.
It was nice things about Blake. Got to give us a little dirt that the desert listeners may not be privy to.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, we were classmates at Mater Dei. And he again was involved in a lot of sports, played football, basketball, baseball. And back then, man, and he won't deny this. He was really cocky back then.
Interesting.
Really cocky. But hey, that's the kind of mentality you needed in sports. And I always thought, like, man, this guy is way too cocky. I don't know what his deal is. But I understood who he was the more I got to know him. So it's just like, it's just part of him. So it's just something you got to accept. And that's the guy who he is. But yeah, he's a great guy. He's kept in contact throughout the years. And he's a fan, and he's been following, and I'm a fan of his. He's been doing great out in Palm Springs and Palm Desert, just making a name for himself. And like you said, he's gotten very good at golf. And I'm jealous of that because I don't play a lot of golf. I don't play as much as people think I do. But yeah, he's a very confident guy back then.
Okay. Well, maybe he's become a little more modest as he works his way into his 30s. I think it's actually his birthday this week, as I asked him to play golf with us later, and he said, I can't. It's my birthday. The golf course, I wouldn't say he's cocky, maybe cavalier, cocksure. Either way, he hits the ball way longer than I do, and he knows that. So that's not telling anybody anything they don't already know.
Yeah, and he's a married man now, and he's got a lot going for him. So it's great to see him be successful out there. If it is his birthday this week, I got to reach out to him before I leave. So,
well, as happy as we are to have Blake here in the desert and to get on the golf course together, equally enthused to have the opportunity to visit with you before you head off to Beijing for your second Olympic appearance. February 19th and 20th, check out Carlo Valdes, part of Team USA for man bobsled. I look forward to watching it, man. And again, as you said, it's your mission. I want to see you on that medal stand, man. All the best to you in Beijing, Carlo.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
your time.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
All right.